recording. And we are on. So, thank you all again for joining me on this webinar today, where we will explore two different worlds within one trip. You're going to have the opportunity to go on an exciting African safari adventure and combine it with a stunning beach vacation with pristine white sands and crystal clear waters. So just to let you know that I'm going to feature several locations of safari lodge and beach combos within Southern and East Africa. And this will give you a taste of what your clients can experience and look forward to. So let me move on to the first slide. And the first combination is going to be the Garden Route, or some people say route, and the Eastern Cape. And if you look at the map over here on the right, you can see where the Garden Route is, and you can see where the Eastern Cape is. And so just to preface the webinar, that all the locations, all the combos are going to be such that their proximity allows it to be a reasonable combination. So you can see that these two are quite close together. All right, so let me just say that we always use the expression bush and beach. Bush, of course, being the safari portion, beach being the pristine oceans. However, it doesn't really matter whether you do bush and then beach or whether you do beach and then bush. But I would like to say that it is my experience in general that if you land up at the beach after a somewhat rather tiring safari experience, you will have the opportunity to relax, to enjoy, to unwind. And that is, typically I'd like to suggest that our clients end up on the beach portion, and particularly for honeymooners. That is a time to just to kind of, roll up your sleeves. In fact, there are no sleeves. You'll be in your swimsuits and just enjoy the relaxation. Okay, so wanted to start off with the Garden Route. Now, the Garden Route, of course, is a wonderful, wonderful scenic drive, and I'm going to show you over here. It's 187 miles of coastline, and it's extremely popular for its dramatic cliffs you can see in the left-hand corner. The pristine beaches, it's got ancient forests, it's got wetlands, it's got lagoons, mountains, they've got the fynbos, which is the indigenous flower to the Cape, which stretches and it's kind of like a weed in a way, but it just covers the ground. Absolutely beautiful. And the Garden Route reminds me a little bit of Route 1 in California, where you can drive from one scenic beach location to the next, each perhaps even more beautiful than the other. It's about a 4 or 5 hour drive, so often people do drive the Garden Route, and they can go to a lot of different experiences along the way, or it can be just an hour flight. So let me say this, that it's a great family or multi-generational location, the Garden Route, and that is because of all the things to do along the way. There are many sanctuaries. There's monkey land, there's birds of paradise, there's an elephant sanctuary, a cheetah sanctuary. You can do canopy tours in the stunning Tsitsi-Kama forest. They've got the Kango caves and more. And in addition to that, of course, along the way, you've got this great marine life. You've got year-round dolphin viewing. You've got seasonal whale watching, surfing, bodyboarding. You've got the whole, enchilada. And so, really a lovely road experience. And by the way, the whales are seasonal, but I love to recommend going between, say, November and end of February, when the humpback whales arrive with their calves. And so it's just, it's wonderful to see that. Also great for honeymooners, food for thought. All right, so the other section of this combo is the Eastern Cape. And the Eastern Cape is a very easy drive from the Garden Route. So it's about 4 or 5 hours. And there are also charter flights available to certain lodges. And there are lots of different lodges in the Eastern Cape. I'm going to share them with you, or some with you. But of course it has the Big Five game watching. You've got to have the Big Five, that I presume many of you know who the Big Five are. And the beauty the beauty of the Eastern Cape is the fact that it's malaria-free. And as a result, ideal a lot for family travel where families don't want their children to, take the malaria tablets. All right, so here's a sample itinerary. A great combination is the Plettenberg Resort. You can see the resort over there. I'll enlarge it a little for you. Okay, it's a premier, luxurious 5-star hotel. It's part of the Liz McGrath collection. She is a designer, a South African designer who's tops. And it's located on this cliff with these great views over the bay, direct access to the beach, and personal and attentive service. So it's absolutely, a luxury all the way. We suggest maybe 4 or 5 nights at the Plettenberg, and then you pair it with Shamwari Game Reserve. Spend about 3 nights. I always like to say 3 nights is a nice amount of time to spend on safari. And Shamwari Game Reserve, which, by the way, means friend in the Shona language, was voted the world's leading safari and game reserve and conservation company for many consecutive years. And the actual game reserve itself has several different lodges, all luxury, and they also offer a 2-night wilderness walking trail. So it's a really lovely combination of bush and beach over here. Couple of other properties. Let me just say this to you before I mention that. If any of you do not have our stunning Gilt Edge brochure, I'm quite happy to send you both a digital or a hard copy version, because you'll be able to see a lot of the other wonderful resorts and game lodges that I'm not necessarily going to feature today. I'm just giving you sample itineraries like the Plettenberg and Shamwari. But there are other stunning locations or resorts along the way. And there's the Turbine, the Pazula Resort and Spa, Fan Court, for example. Those are hotels in the along the Garden Route. And other Eastern Cape lodges include Pumba, Kariga, Lalibela. So there are a lot of other game parks that are malaria-free as well. Moving along. The next combination is the Sabi Sands and the Mozambique Islands. And again, you can see the combination or the location of the Sabi Sands and the islands that are close together. So again, it makes a lot of sense to be doing the two together. Now the Sabi Sands, let's see, there you go, the Sabi Sands, and there are the islands. The Sabi Sands, let's just move it on to the next slide, hold on. The Sabi Sands is South Africa's premier and most popular wildlife destination. And it's very easily accessible from both Cape Town and Johannesburg. And it's located adjacent to the Kruger National Park. So basically, the Sabi Sands is comprised of private concessions. And what's wonderful about the lodges in the private concessions is that it means you can do a lot of off-roading. You don't have to go along the tarred roads. You can go off-road, you can do night game drives, and you can also do amazing stargazing. Because when you're in the park itself, they close at around 6 o'clock. So if you're staying at any of the lodges in the park, you have to be in by 6 o'clock. And that also precludes you from seeing a fantastic South African sunset in the bush. So just remember, private concession goes along with all these luxuries of being off the road. And the Kruger National Park and the Sabi Sands, there are no fences. So if you're staying in the Sabi Sands, you have access to the park during the day as well as the concession itself. So you have, miles and miles of game viewing. I'm going to extend the size of the picture right here because I want you to focus in onto the stargazing. On the left, you can see a star bed, which I featured before in a previous webinar, but it's so romantic. You're actually above the ground. You can see the mosquito nets, hanging over the bed, and the beautiful little lamps, lights around it. Very, very romantic. And you've got your bathroom 1 floor down, and it's just a truly magnificent experience. Very safe because, of course, you've always got your ranger that is within proximity of a walkie-talkie should you should you feel the need to have someone come and get you. But it's absolutely wonderful. You can look in the next picture at the game vehicles. They're open in the Sabi Sands, and you've often got a tracker. So you've got both a driver and you've got a tracker. So that's a guide and a tracker who, of course, helps, you find the animals. And so it's absolutely wonderful. And then the last picture, I just wanted to feature, of course, a lot of accommodations have their own private plunge pools, which is really a treat. So that's just kind of a sense of the Sabi Sands. And then moving on to the combination with the Mozambique Islands. And the Mozambique Islands are these wonderful idyllic tropical islands in the sort of Bazaruta archipelago. And there's several islands. The Bazaruta Island is the biggest island. It has dreamy shores, swaying palm trees, as you can see, turquoise water. There's also Benguera Island, which is made up of wetlands and forests and grasslands. And it is the second largest island, and there's also Vilanculos. So, just an absolutely wonderful combination. There's sunbathing, there are all sorts of boat cruises, marine life, kayaking, snorkeling, and truly barefoot luxury at its best. Here is a sample of a beach and a bush, or a bush and beach combo. We have taken Lion Sands, 2 or 3 nights at Lion Sands. This is a proudly family-owned lodge. It's actually 2 luxury lodges. One is in the Sabi Sands, one is in the Kruger National Park itself. Very unique, and of course it's got all these sleep-out options, which we call tree houses. I'll expand the pictures a little bit over here. You can see another treehouse picture on your left, and you can see the romance of being right on the river, and the lodges having their own private plunge pools as well. And then on the right, we've got the Azura Benguera, a luxury villa styled eco-friendly lodge, and it's just steps away from a pristine beach. And of course, you've got both adventure and romance all in one there. You've got you've got drives on the island. You've got your sundowners in a dhow. A dhow is one of those old sort of Arabic boats that have sails. Very romantic. It's got snorkeling and scuba diving. So absolutely wonderful. And I was just going to read you a little quote from our GE GILTEDGE Africa brochure on the Lion Sands tree houses, because there's several. So it says here, the Lion Sands tree houses, there's Chalkley's tree house, Kingston tree house, and Tanyeleti tree house, are the ultimate in bush bedrooms. Here the guests enjoy sunset, picnic dinners while watching the vastness of the bush transform from day to night. And this is before opting to sleep directly beneath the Milky Way and a myriad of shooting stars. So if that doesn't make you want to sign up, then I don't know what does. All right, so let's move along. Okay. Trying to get this slide to move on to the next one. I think maybe because I enlarged it. The next combination is the Masai Mara and Kenya's south coast. So there is the Masai Mara, which is actually here on the border of Tanzania, which is over here, and there, of course, is the south coast. By the way, here is a picture of one of those dhows that I was talking about, one of those sort of very simple boats with the, with the sails. And at the bottom, I'm going to enlarge it a bit, of course, is a stunning picture of the great migration of literally millions of wildebeest who crossed the Mara River into the Serengeti during that time of the year. It's sort of between about July through, say, October. Okay, so what I wanted to say about the Masai Mara as I'm moving forward over here is that it is located in the southwestern savanna wilderness of Kenya. And as I said, it borders on the Serengeti. You have year-round game viewing, but the bragging rights and the optimum experience, of course, is this great migration. The other thing, of course, is the cultural experience you can have with the local Maasai, and you can see them in that middle picture with their red tunics on. It's definitely well worth having a Maasai experience or a village experience. They're a very spiritual tribe. and they sort of revere their animals. They actually don't eat their cows. They use them for milk and for eating, but they not for eating, and they also use the the blood of the animals, but they definitely do not eat cow. And they are a wonderful tribe. Their red tunics represented fire in the past, so the animals like lions would see the red and they would stay away. And today they just continue to use those tunics, and it's very typical of the Maasai people. Anyway, it's very easy to get to the Masai Mara from Nairobi, and then you can combine it with Kenya's south coast, or Diani Beach. And Diani Beach, by the way, has been voted Africa's leading beach destination for sort of the 5th time in a row since 2015. And it stretches the whole south, south area there from Mombasa to the Tanzanian border. Has these wonderful white sandy beaches. And what's a little different about Diani Beach is that it has more of an Indian and an Arabic influence. So you'll see that in some of the accommodation as well as in the food. And there are direct flights from the Masai Mara, to Ukunda Airport. And here's a sample itinerary that I wanted to share. It is the Anga Mara on the left, which I've actually stayed at. I've taken several travel agents on a fam. Stunning views from up here, from the actual deck over there that look way over into the vast plains of Africa. Just absolutely amazing. It's owner-run, and it's perched on the edge of the Great Rift Valley overlooking the Mara, and it's founded on an underlying belief in guest delight and fresh approach to the safari experience. Very luxurious and truly a fantastic destination. Let's see, hold on a second. It's running away from me. All right, so the pairing here is with the Alfajiri Villas, and you can see that's got a little bit more of say, an Arabic feel to it. But again, 3 or 4 nights here in luxury is very, very romantic. It overlooks the Indian Ocean with an elevated position, and it ensures privacy and stunning views. All right, so the next combination is Kenya and the Seychelles. And what I wanted to say to you about the Seychelles is that it's definitely one of the islands in the Indian Ocean that is fit for royalty. In fact, William and Kate spent their honeymoon there, and so you can just imagine the privacy, the service, and the ultimate luxury of what you can experience. Absolutely beautiful is the Seychelles. All right, now I wanted just to mention that the pairing here can be with Kenya or East Africa. So generically, I'm just going to say you could do a Kenya safari circuit, and there are quite a few game parks in the circuit. There's Samburu, there's Laikipia, the Masai Mara, and there's Amboseli. And you can also do a Tanzania, or some people say Tanzania safari circuit, with Lake Manyara. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner that it has all those flamingos, the Ngorongoro crater, which is this big caldera at the bottom of an extinct volcano where the animals gather. Absolutely amazing. Or the Serengeti. And then lastly, of course, people often go on a gorilla tracking expedition either in Uganda or Rwanda. And so those are the 3 East Africa experiences that you can combine with the Seychelles because of its proximity to East Africa in the Indian Ocean. I'll just enlarge some of the pictures. You can see Lake Manyara with the flamingos. Gorgeous baby picture, absolutely gorgeous, of one of the gorillas. And of course, you can see the plains animals there on the right. All right, so the Seychelles, just to let you know, is that there are about 115 islands. 16 are inhabited, and they have literally sensational beaches. I have to, at this point, just, again, expand the picture. You can see how clear the water is. They have both rock and they also have coral reefs, and that really gives it its distinction from any of the other islands. all right, bring it back to its normal size. But it has lush forests. The scenery literally is unreal. Great marine life. They have a lot of exotic species of fish. Every kind of water sport that you can think of, including hiking and cycling. And they have the El Dabra giant tortoises, which have lived for thousands of years. And they also have the Coca de Mer palm, which is the largest seed or coconut in the world, and that is endemic to the island of Praslin and Curious Islands. And the two lodges, or resorts, I should say, that we're featuring here is Mahe, which I had been to as well, on the left, and Praslin Resort. And Mahe Resort is unbelievable. It's exclusive. It's on a rocky peninsula. They have a slogan that is anything, anywhere, anytime, and they literally mean it. You can eat whenever you want. They've got so many different locations that you can eat. You can take a helicopter ride to an exclusive little beach and have your lunch or dinner there. You have a private butler. It's massive. You have your own pool. Very romantic. As you can see, it's completely secluded. And then, of course, Praslin Resort, which is the Constance Lemuria in the Seychelles, is also beautifully located, and it has one of the only 18-hole golf courses on the Seychelles. All right, and then the very last pairing that I have here is Tanzania, the Tanzania Safari Circuit with Zanzibar. And you can see the combination and the proximity again. It's always about having them in the same sort of hemisphere. I wanted to just expand that picture over there of Stone Town. So this is Stone Town is in Zanzibar, and so in addition to the barefoot luxury and the gorgeous beaches and the crystal clear waters, they also have fantastic markets and great shopping and art. All right, so in combining here, you've got the Northern Safari Circuit. This is in Tanzania, and you've got Tarangire National Park, which is slightly off the beaten track. It's well known for its great elephant migration, great birding as well. You can also go to the breathtaking crater, the Ngorongoro crater, which I mentioned to you earlier, which is this gigantic volcano, and now the largest intact caldera in the world. And then the Serengeti, which many of you have heard of, which is home to one of the world's greatest concentrations of wildlife, and of course, home to the Great Migration when they cross between the Mara and the Serengeti. And then Zanzibar Island, there are lots of daily scheduled flights from Tanzania, from the circuit to Zanzibar. I mentioned historic Stone Town, which is a melting pot from both Africa, Arabia, and India, and Europe. So it's a real confluence of cultures. And it has these gorgeous tropical white sandy beaches with every marine sport or snorkeling, sailing, or just relaxing. So there you have it. Those are 5 sample bush and beach or beach and bush combinations that we'd like to offer, that offer your clients definitely bragging rights. And again, it's like having, 2 worlds, in one trip. So, by the way, I didn't do the sample itinerary of the last one. Just wanted to show you that there are quite a few, lodges in the circuit, in the Tanzania circuit. And I'm just going to mention them to you. You've got Kem and beyond, in Ngorongoro Crater Lodge. You've got Singita and the Mara River Tented Camp. And I'm just going to expand the pictures again so you can just see again that they're all luxury, 5-star, romantic, fabulous views, beautifully appointed, private plunge pools, just absolutely magnificent. And we like to suggest that you do the circuit for 5 to 7 nights. So you stay at several different properties. And then you spend the other 3 nights at Zuri, Zanzibar, which again is on the northwest shores, has stunning views, a range of accommodation, and of course the amazing white sandy beaches. So yeah, so those are the 5 combinations. We're happy to recommend where and when and what time of the year. Just wanted to give you all a sampling, whet your appetites for offering this itinerary to your clients. And wanted just to end, if I can close the slide, with my favorite slide, is just to let you know that Gilt Edge Africa has won the World Travel Awards for 9 years in a row as South Africa's leading luxury tour operator. So I like to end off by saying that you're all in excellent hands and that we are standing by to assist you with creating truly a life-changing experience to Southern and East Africa. So that is it. I'm actually now going to open it up to questions, and I've got a couple questions here. Please continue to add to the question list, but I've got a couple already up here. And one of them asks, which lodge offers a stargazing bed? And that was the Lion Sands Sabi Sands. That's the one that I read you the quote, that there are actually several lodges and there's several different star beds. So that's the Lion Sands. And by the way, there are stargazing beds, throughout, there's in Zimbabwe, they're all over East, there's some in East Africa, but that was a sample that I wanted to show you. Okay, somebody's asked for one of our stunning brochures. And if there are no more questions, I am going to stop the recording, but I will stay on a little longer. So I'm stopping the recording right now.